Hey, it's Rick Kettner here. Let's take a look at the best strategy for selling products or services to a huge market of potential customers. This is tip number 2 in my 21 marketing tips from 21 years in the field video series. So, you've created a really great product or service. You know customers will absolutely love it. And you know there's a very large market of people out there that would pay for it if only they knew about it. This is an incredibly common scenario when it comes to selling everything from physical products to online or in-person services. In fact, it's so common that it really drives home the value and importance of marketing in general. Having a great product, of course, is important, but without great marketing, it's unlikely to be successful. And unfortunately for consumers out there, a weak product with great marketing is more likely to find success than a great product with weak marketing. But of course, the ideal situation is to have a great product and great marketing. So how do we go about spreading the word to a massive audience of potential customers? Well, if you watched the last video in this series, you've probably started to explore potential marketing channels to promote your product or service. This is a critical first step, but it can still be difficult to go up against large established businesses that are already using those channels or targeting similar customers. So you might be wondering, how are you supposed to compete with companies that can spend far more money? How can you break through the noise? And most importantly, how do you reach so many people in a cost-effective or profitable way? Well, let's go back to something I discussed in the last video. One of the reasons why so many businesses make the mistake of having no clear marketing plan is because they mistakenly focus on the total number of potential customers out there. It's so easy to fall into the trap of assuming at least some of those people will find the product, buy it, and then word of mouth will spread from there. This focus on the total number of potential customers is a huge distraction, and sometimes it leads people to mistakenly believe that the path to success is in reaching directly for the broadest possible market. But here's the thing, even if that broad market is the ultimate goal, it's absolutely not the correct place to start. This is a very common mistake that almost always leads to wasted time and money with little to show for it. The key to effectively reaching a broad market of potential customers is to begin with a single target market that is highly receptive to what you're offering, and to tailor your products and services to that market whenever possible. In Crossing the Chasm, Jeffrey A. Moore describes this as targeting a specific niche market. In This Is Marketing, Seth Godin describes a similar concept by recommending that readers begin with the smallest viable market. The basic idea here is to identify one core audience that represents a viable starting point for your marketing efforts. Now, just to be clear, the lesson here is not to think small or to give up on your big, ambitious plans, but rather it's that the key to reaching a massive potential market is to start with one market in order to create strong initial momentum, drive word-of-mouth referrals, and to leverage those wins to engage the broader market. In fact, my favorite analogy for this strategy comes from Crossing the Chasm by Jeffrey A. Moore. In that book, he compares the approach to the Allied invasion of Normandy on D-Day during World War II. While the goal of the invasion was to take control of Western Europe, the strategy began with an invasion focused directly and exclusively on a single point of attack. Once they were able to establish a beachhead, they could build momentum, expand to adjacent countries, and eventually liberate Western Europe. The same strategy applies to marketing to a massive potential audience. We must focus on a single core audience to cut through the noise, generate initial momentum, drive word of mouth, and fund future growth. Even if your business has broad generic appeal, it's still best to start with one core audience, and when possible, customize your offerings to better suit that market. Amazon started with online book sales, Facebook started with individual college campuses, McDonald's started with a single restaurant, and they all leveraged those relatively humble beginnings into massive mainstream success. Now, one of the biggest benefits to this approach is that it greatly simplifies everything about your marketing game plan. No more trying to appeal to big, generic audiences. You can go small and focus on one audience that is especially receptive to your product or service. And all of your sales copy, customer referrals, and marketing channels will be 100% focused around that one core audience. Here are some practical steps you can take to get started with this. First, start by defining a single group of ideal customers. If you already have customers in multiple niche markets, consider the ones that are most lucrative, easiest to work with, and the best overall fit for your business. If you don't yet have customers, consider the types of people that might be the best fit for your product or service. Look for people that buy similar or complementary products. The goal here is to select one target market on which you can build momentum. Step 2, create a detailed profile of an example customer in that target market. This is often called building a customer avatar, but the idea is to simply create a detailed profile of one average customer in your target audience. Where do they live? How much do they earn? Are they married? Do they have kids? What other products do they buy? What websites do they visit? What apps do they use? What brands do they support? And even psychographic characteristics like what do they need? How do they think? What do they value? The goal is to humanize the target market as a single perfect customer. So you're able to think in terms of serving that one person rather than a large faceless group. And finally, step 3, focus exclusively on serving the target market. Don't be generic in your sales copy, don't buy ads for other audiences, and don't waste time trying to close sales with customers outside of the target market. Focus exclusively in building a viable business around this one audience until you've got enough momentum to expand to adjacent markets. The reason why this strategy is so effective is because focusing on a single core audience allows you to provide an overabundance of support, be more targeted with marketing channels, initiate strong word-of-mouth referrals, and establish clear market leadership. All of this goes a long way to helping you establish a foothold for broader expansion. So, whatever it is that you're trying to sell to a massive potential market, find the ideal starting place and then focus all of your efforts on capturing that one market to start. It's a proven path for building momentum to reach a larger audience in the future. If you'd like to learn more about this kind of strategy, I've got a couple of book recommendations. This is Marketing by Seth Godin is perfect for anyone that wants to create a growing movement with their products and services. And Crossing the Chasm by Jeffrey A. Moore is an excellent resource for anyone that wants to sell disruptive products to mainstream customers. Both of these books make a strong case for starting with a single target market, and they include plenty of practical tips for applying this strategy to your own business. Anyway, that's it for this video. The next tip in this series covers the one thing you should do before creating any new product or service. It's a really important idea, so be sure to check it out. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to get an alert when new videos in this series launch. And if you'd like a PDF cheat sheet with all 21 marketing tips, head over to 21marketingtips.com or click the link in the video description box. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.